always forget this part. The muting and the unmuting might be a little difficult
Yeah.
sometimes, you know?
Is that music the background music? Oh,
Generally, yeah.
bad?
That's just the background music that they have in the app or for StreamYards.
Really irritating.
You know, they got a few options. Not the best options, but free options that don't get us copyright, which is pretty damn cool. So I'll take that. You know?
They're going to play the whole time, out of interest.
It can, or we can also do that. And turn it on. Let's X-nay it, yeah.
The lovely people want to listen to us.
Of course.
Adultery times. Hello, everybody.
Sultry. Howdy. Welcome back to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. There's a lot of things coming out right now. Some good sci-fi things. Let's immediately not talk about something sci-fi though. Obviously, Rings of Power is coming out today, season 2. Let's not talk about that either. Let's talk about something that's going to be really. Huh?
Is it actually out? Is it on?
Tonight, yeah.
Oh my god, of course.
Technically, this morning for y'all. Oh, don't forget to switch the banner. Thank you. There's so many things. Y'all help us run this so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
only seen Rings of Power 4 or 5 times end to end. I've actually watched it about 2 times all the way through.
What crime did Alan commit that he was made to watch it 4 or 5 times all the way through?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, poor thing.
You know,
no, actually, I'm not a hater of Rings of Power. I just found it boring. I didn't hate it.
I'm with you. I didn't hate it. I didn't necessarily see $1 billion, but it wasn't $1 billion put into it either. So,
no, that wasn't.
No. Okay, so we can jump into that. But let's talk about something that we're both very excited for, and we haven't talked about yet.
Legally Blonde 3?
Is there actually any? There's no news, is there?
No, but I thought you had news. If you're teasing me, bitch, I am going to fly to America and kick you in the balls.
Well, you know what I am teasing you with, which I don't know if you've seen the ad or not, but you know, Only Murders in the Building comes back on Tuesday. I
do. I have seen the trailer, and yes, it does look pretty good.
Okay. I'm excited, but I'm also worried. I hope it doesn't like overplay its hand in a way, you know.
I like how they're doing it in that they're like building on the last story, because I think they're doing a movie, aren't they? Basically based on what happened in the first season. That's the hint I got from it, but I wasn't really watching it. That's the hint I got. Mm-hmm. It just makes sense. It's kind of logical sort of thing. And the bit where he's talking to his name, the guy from Between Two Ferns. Zach
Galifianakis.
Yeah, I was never. As a regular Sidetracker, you'll obviously know I love complicated second names, and I'm always really good at it. But yeah, I love how he's saying, "Oh, you're between two ferns in me," and Mike was like, "I had no idea." Don't worry, it's quite. I did think that was really funny.
Yeah,
but, I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be good.
I'm glad you said that, because it actually kind of like makes me feel a little bit better about it. It is the natural like progression of it, because it just does feel like different in those first 2 seasons. And season 3 totally felt different, but it was a good different at the end of the day. Yeah, fingers crossed.
I just like I like it as a progression to it. I like that. It was the way that makes sense. I think I'm not sure where they're going after this, but they should have done a streaming service rather than a movie. A streaming series that had way too much money and stuff. Where is Stormy, by the way?
I was about to say, that cracked me up. I started laughing the second I saw that. I don't know. We totally last week, the 4.5 hours, he was like, I gotta go do homework after this. We literally about an hour and a half, like, or probably hour 50, like right after you hopped off.
Oh my God, like, he killed Stormy.
It's time for some homework. 2 hours later, nothing.
Reasonable. He's far too reasonable to be allowed to continue living. Stormy? Have you met Stormy?
Did you see the last 2 hours of last week? Like, did you?
Reasonable? No, he's a very intelligent man. He really knows. He knows his stuff. Stormy.
Which, watch that last 2 hours of last week, and you see all that intelligence. It was the first time we've seen Cyworks back in action since Richard Branson.
I miss Cyworks.
I did too.
He tried to blow himself up several times on Cyworks, and that was how I fell in love with him. I watched his video about hydrogen And I was just like, come on, and it did nothing blew up. But I was like, yeah, I fell in love with the guy. I said, yeah, it was Bob Lazar, arguing with him about Bob Lazar that me and Stormy began our bromance.
Well, was that on Sidetrack or was that on the conspiracy channel?
The conspiracy channel thing that I did before. So yeah, he's a big believer in Bob Lazar, big supporter of Bob Lazar, and I'm not so much, because I have this annoying thing about facts, and it's really irritating. And Bob Lazar's story sort of wavers a little bit and is a bit difficult to follow. But yeah, Stormy believes every word he says. But you know, you've got to have faith. You've got to have faith in people sometimes.
You do have to have faith in people sometimes. Yeah. And I have faith in Stormy over Bill Nye.
Yeah. Damn straight.
Damn straight.
We've got to get Sarah on a video at some point.
We do. We came on for a little bit. Yeah.
David
Sarah,
B. Yes. David B. 100%, mate. Bob the bull booper. From yes.
Also, y'all can't hear the cat, can you? I know.
I tell you what. Right, just while I was thinking about it, I'll get you on video here. I might do a bit of a series of videos. I was thinking about this the other day about sort of, because it's the videos that aren't really specifically sci-fi but related in some way. Because I mean, there's a story about Kurt Russell, and when he was flying his personal plane into Arizona, he saw. You remember those UFO lights that was seen over? Was it
like a string of lights or something like that?
Yeah, there was a string of lights, and they hovered over the city for like hours. And people thought it was the UFOs. People thought it was a big thing. But Kurt Russell actually saw them. He was flying into the airport at the time. It was Arizona, wasn't it? I'm a bit behind on my UFO things. It's really
Arizona, Nevada. It was something like
Tucson. That. It was the city that they were over anyway, these V-shaped lights. The Phoenix lights. Okay. So I might do a video talking about the Phoenix lights. Thank you, Mike. It's kind of sci-fi related, but there's a few stories like it that I might do.
Hey,
I might do the UFO story that got turned into a movie as well. Almost like sci-fi backwards. Fire in the Sky. I might do on a Fire in the Sky. We'll talk about the real story that went with it, sort of thing.
Fire in the Sky.
It was a movie about a guy that was kidnapped, but it was a true story.
Robert Patrick.
It's a true story in that he said it happened. I don't think was Robert Patrick in it?
That's the first person I see.
I haven't seen the movie in a few years, to be honest, but probably. But yeah, I might do a video on that. Just for something a bit different on the channel, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing because I played the Mass Effect games again recently, and I think those are. I'm going to do a big video on that and talk about how I think it is the best modern sci-fi story. I think it's kind of like the modern version of a Dune or a Foundation or something along those lines. But while I was playing these games, of course, there's 1,000 different like cool little things and like concepts that pop up. And one thing that's super prominent in the series is like AI stuff, but AI is handled really particularly because there's an entire like species of alien that made AI as like subservient robots for a little bit that kind of became more intelligent than they meant for them to be. Like, they get their own intelligence, and there's kind of like there's a morality kind of issue you're playing with there. But they talk a lot about VI. A lot of their tech is filled with like virtual intelligence, and I think 100% of everything we call AI nowadays is virtual intelligence. And of course I would dive into like what actually each means, all the deeper stuff about each and that kind of stuff. But similar where it's not truly sci-fi, but kind of like, it's right next door, and it's in our wheelhouse.
We could do whatever we want with it, can't we?
Yeah,
to be honest. If people don't like it, I don't want to watch the video.
Exactly.
Yeah, it did. It traumatized me as well, to be honest. And yeah, it is a great movie. Yeah, Travis Walton. There's a flip side to the story though, but it is one of the more convincing UFO stories. But there is a flip side to it. That's not so.
I remember watching it like as a kid, maybe like I remember images. All these images when I get on the Google search look familiar, but I can't have like a story pop in my brain that I can remember from it. But that just means
what? Yeah, he just disappeared for a few days, and then. But anyway, I might do a video on it, so I'll tell you then.
Ayo.
Oh, before we go on to thing as well, I did see Romulus yesterday, Alien Romulus. And oh my god, with music, it's a much better film. You know, I said like, with sound and music, it might be slightly more intense. Oh, yeah. A million times. It's like, going from something 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional, you know what I mean? It's like it was that bigger thing. Absolutely awesome. And the end sequence was a bit different. Again, we won't do spoilers because I know not everyone's seen it.
Mm-hmm. Next week, though, y'all better have seen it. That's 3 weeks. We're giving you some grace period.
Yeah. And then we're going to start spoilers. But it was a bit different. But because I've only seen one with really, like, it looks like cardboard cutouts. It's the only way to describe it with the CGI. I didn't get any, you know, like full thing of what they were trying to achieve anyway. So, but it was. I think it was just edited slightly differently.
Okay.
In the version I saw, but other than that, it was pretty close to what I saw 6 months ago as what was on the screen. Pretty close.
Pretty damn good too, huh?
But the CGI and everything was just so much better and made so much more sense in the version. But the music for a film like that, the sound and the music is like another character, isn't it? And it's like it made such a massive difference. Obviously, seeing the cinema screen, everything. The other thing was. The version I saw, because it's like this digital, so it's a version they send and the CGI people work off, and then there's so much to do like I think I talked about this last week, didn't I? It's like directors and the editors are like talking to each other through the notes and things on the screen. So it's like a working copy sort of thing. But it comes on a big screen, and then the actual film is like only in the 1/4. And then it's got like the little notes and things that come through, and then areas where there's music, and then it says what the music's going to be, and blah blah blah. So you can't, you don't get the full effect. No. Like that, I've been offered another film. Oh shit, what was it?
Watch it, do it.
No, I'm not going to do it because it's a film I really want to see.
Oh, okay, I get you.
No, sorry, series I really want to see. So I've been offered an early version of one of the Strange New Worlds episodes.
Oh, cool.
But it's a very, very like first cut sort of thing, and I'm like, nah. I don't want to watch it.
Would it be the one where Anson Mount is?
I don't know which episode it was that he's got hold of. So it's just he's got hold of one of these episodes, and he said, "Do you want to see it?" And I'm like, nah, you're right. I don't want to see it. It'll just ruin it for me. And I wouldn't be allowed to tell anybody I'd seen it. So what's the point?
Yeah.
So nah, he keeps offering me things. I think unless it's something I'm like, Alien Romulus was perfect because it's a film I was looking forward to, but not like I'm not an aliens freak, so it's like it doesn't bother me too much that I saw the early version. But if it was like a Star Trek movie or 6 months before Stargate the movie comes out, he offers me a copy. I'm like, no chance, I don't want to see it.
As much as I want to, I just can't. Yeah. No.
It would hurt me. It would hurt me. So no, thank you.
It'd be that. It'd be it'd be the short-term gain instead of the long-term good on that. You know.
Yeah. And okay. You wouldn't be allowed to tell anyone. So what's the point?
Yeah, that's true too. Oh,
it's the cat. I was wondering what the bloody hell that noise was then. Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering if y'all can hear that. I'm like, gosh, like you're great. Go hang out back there. Just don't coo at the wall.
David started talking about probing.
Uh-oh.
If I know what's coming next, just let it go. We've been really good for a couple of months. We haven't talked about that for a few months. Don't do it. Don't do it, Dave.
We're gonna have to get the merchandise shot back up. Poke the bear. Poke the. Yeah. Don't start poking other things. I was gonna say poke the bear. Yeah, we'll stay there. Okay. So with the alien thing, two things that I thought of whenever you were saying that was obviously the easy one. The CG is the one particular character that is a bit controversial, that is pissing a lot of people off, but also I think utilized well in the film. Did that look a lot better?
Well, the version I saw. Do you mean the final?
Yeah, was that like
the Alien? I think we could say that the final version of the Alien.
I'm not
Very
even saying
reminiscent.
Alien.
Sorry?
I was talking more Android maybe.
The Android guy. Yeah, there wasn't really a lot of CGI with him though.
Well,
oh no, the thing. Oh no, God no! In the version I had no idea what that was supposed to be. I only twigged by the voice. But it still doesn't look great in the movie, does it? But I mean,
I thought it looked okay.
It's just okay.
Yeah.
But, no, we're being really harsh because what they did is insanely difficult to do. So you're being really hard. It's okay. But yeah, it's not.
I actually think it looks great because it's one of those things where you do a freaking still frame any picture. I think from that entire movie, it's gonna look picture perfect. But it's just there's something uncanny valley about it where you're like, they're not necessarily interacting with that thing in this same room, and you can tell that. But it looks.
I actually have a little bit of insider knowledge on that though. That the CGI people suggested when they were doing that. So there is a character in it that's a character from a previous movie making a comeback, but they've had to CGI him because obviously I think the actor's even dead probably.
He's dead. So he's been Grandma Parkin.
Yeah. So his character's in it. He's brilliant. But what they wanted, the CGI people said was, if we're allowed to mess his face up, like he's been smacked in the face or whatever, then these little things that aren't quite right with the face will look right because a thing. And the producers refused. They said, no, you're all right. We like what we've got. And that's why you see the mouth's not quite right and the eyes aren't quite right. Because, well, if we like that he's been smashed in the face, it would have been explained and we can get away with it. And they're like, no, you're right.
That odd movement is like because half your face is crushed in as an animatronic. Like it would be, that's easy.
Yeah, it's a cheat to get around it, but they didn't do it. So, Mattson. I was
going to say, hello, puppets.
I haven't spoken to Matt in ages.
Good day, Mr. Relics. Wait, was it? No, last week was Stormy and I. Was it 2 weeks ago that was just Matt and I? It was just, I just haven't sat down with Matt like that for like 2 hours in a long time, hour and a half. And damn, I love you, man.
When I wasn't in. I don't know what I did to offend Matthew so much, but he obviously hates me. He's just unlucky that I wasn't in that day.
I wish y'all were able to do that Jenny thing a couple weeks ago. But it's always bad timing for the frickin' cons, I guess, for stuff.
Yeah, it happens. The one thing I did, an Alien side note. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a guy, trying to think what I can say, how much I can say about what he does and stuff. He basically works for a company that does like projections and things. I said I talked about we had a bunch of projections not long ago about what's going on in, in the future, next 5 years. He works for the company that put that together, and he said a lot of our eyes are on Alien Romulus, because obviously a big sci-fi horror adventure sort of thing. They say there was a lot of uncertainty about 6 months ago about how well this movie was going to do. So there were a lot of eyes on it to see if it performed. And a lot of studios were sort of going, do we want to put money into this sort of project? And it's done reasonably well. So hopefully that's
pretty reasonably well. Yeah. I really hope just after Predator 2019 it just didn't end up being what it needed to be. At the end of the day, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't good. It wasn't awful. All these things. It was a decent thing. It was a decent popcorn flick.
Yeah, it's a popcorn version of the movie. Yeah, definitely.
It just didn't hit where it needed to, I guess, in the Predator zeitgeist, whatever that may be. Which, of course, gave him a little cold feet on putting Prey into theaters, which ended up being damn good. And I'm so glad
that was the most painful thing of last year was that Prey didn't go into. I've never got to see Prey at the cinema.
I really hope that Alien Romulus has proven to them, like, hey, maybe it's not the exact same franchise, but they're in the same wheelhouse. This is a film franchise. Put those films on the silver screen where they belong. Like, yes, people are going to go check it out in streaming. Put it on a silver screen first. Then everybody's going to go watch it.
No, I tell you what, when Prey 2 comes out, which is going to be, looks like it's going to be something completely, Badlands comes out, I'm hoping they give Prey a run in the cinema because it deserves it.
I'd go do it.
And
I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'd be there with my bells on going, let's do this. Come on. I'd love to see that movie at the cinema. I've watched that film about 4 times now. It's one of the few films. Actually, guys, get into the comments and tell us now that like films that you've watched, particularly modern films that you've watched more than once. It's quite a short list for me.
It is a short, but they're all films that you like know, because you get so excited about it. I'm like Everything Everywhere All at Once. I got so excited about that I saw it 6 times in theaters. It's one of those things where I was like, "You haven't seen that movie?"
I've seen that once. I've seen it once. I wouldn't watch it again. I might watch it again at some point, but I'm not in a rush. But like there's the great movies like Lord of the Rings. Are we classing that as a modern film? Isn't that like 25 years old now?
That's 25 years. Let's say 2010 pass.
And then I say in the last 10 years, right? Because I would even say I've watched The Matrix more than once, but that was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. The new Dune, I have watched that more than once. Mainly because the story's so confusing. When the second one came out, I had to watch it again to remember what the hell had happened. Looper is 20 years old.
Well,
we're older than we realize here, people.
Looper's 2012, though. It's only 12, 15 years.
But it feels 2012. Really?
It feels older. It feels old. Because he did that right before Last Jedi. So yeah.
Right Michael's just said the Ghostbusters. I haven't watched Afterlife. Afterlife. Yeah, I've watched more than once. But I was watching Bird on a Wire with the wife last night because I've got MGM Plus at the moment. So we've got all these great old MGM movies coming up. And some with Bird on the Wire. Mel Gibson, Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn's bottom is astonishing in that movie. She shows it off a few times. It's very good. Even my wife's there going, "That's a good ass," and I'm like, "I'm glad you said that because I was just thinking."
Goldie Hawn has a Goldie.
Goldie bottom.
Goldie Bond. I don't know. I was trying to find a good little like alliteration. I couldn't find it.
That's hell of an ass. But I was just thinking, God, these films are so much better. I watched the first Spider-Man. You know, the one with the Sam Raimi.
Oh yeah.
Thingy one, the first one at the cinema recently because it was the anniversary sort of thing. I want to watch it. It's good.
And it's still good in a movie theater too.
Yeah, like, and there's some of the effects you're like, nah, but they weren't awful. The Batman, that was a good one. I have watched the Batman a couple of times actually, but mainly because I can't make my mind up whether I love or hate that film. I love bits of it. It's too long. I wish it'd been about half an hour shorter. It would be much better.
I love Matt Reeves as a filmmaker. I think it's his not only worst film, it's his most juvenile film. I think it's more juvenile than his very first film. It's the biggest detective and the best detective in the world cannot figure out that the rat with wings is the excuse me, I'm about to go into French speaking over here real quick. The man named Falcone. That's the sim. It took us 3 hours to get to this.
Yeah, I get that. And also, he's figured out the secret by pulling up a rug as well. I was like,
did you see the bucket for this one though? I am, as much as I did not like that movie, I'm about to go see it again in the next week because they just released a bucket for the re-release. So, eating my own words quickly.
Yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a great movie. To be fair, that is fantastic. Oh, yeah. But I've watched films like Die Hard, The Predator, the good Predator, Predator 2, those sorts of films from like the 80s, 90s, early noughties. I could watch them anytime. There's not a lot of modern movies I could watch over and over again. Probably the only one in the last 20 years maybe is like Firefly, Serenity movie. I watch that every few months because I watch Firefly and then I watch Serenity.
Like I have to.
To like cap it off. And I probably do that twice a year. And I watch Prey. I've watched Prey about 4 times now. More than happily.
I think
that Furiosa is awful. Such a bad film. I hate that movie. We'll put this in context though. I hate all of them.
Okay.
I hate the original Mad Max. I'm not a big fan of that type of film.
like post-apocalyptic,
like apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic movie. I'm not a big fan of them anyway. 1980s did a few of them, didn't they? And I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
I think they're over the top and they're a bit. I'm not a big fan. And to be fair, if you like the over the top Mad Max film, you'll love Furiosa because it really tapped into that feel. But the problem is, I hated the original Mad Max film, and it tapped into. I hated the other one they did as well. I hated the Mad Max one with Bane. I've forgotten his fucking name. It's gone out of my
Tom
head.
Hardy.
Tom Hardy. I hated the Tom Hardy one, and even the most beautiful woman that's ever lived, and Charlize Theron. Yeah. Oh god, oh my god. But hated it. Terrible movie. Not at all.
Did you like the Fallout show?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Does that bridge the gap just enough?
Yeah, because it was cartoony, wasn't it, in places and things, and it was a bit. It did the game. Somebody just said Interstellar. Don't start me on Interstellar.
I love it.
It's the most stupid sci-fi movie, and everyone goes, "It's so realistic." It's not. It's stupid. They got a couple of things about time dilation right, and that's it. Synchronicity. Remind me. Synchronicity.
Beautiful. Hold up. I can't.
I'm sure I've seen it. Separate Monk's wrong as well. Interstellar isn't. You're all wrong. And they got so much of the science wrong. No, they got so much of the science technically right, but that doesn't mean it's right. I hated Fury Road as well. Somebody's just mentioned Fury Road as well. Hated that as well. Oh mate, it's too small here. I can't see it.
Oh, that's not what I. Oh, synchronic. Is that the right one or synchronicity?
Synchronicity. I'll watch it later.
That's so tiny. I can't even see it right here. Oh, we'll figure it out later.
The few films as sciencey movies I can watch over and over again. Actually, prefer is the Martian. I've watched that 3 or 4 times. The Martian. I love that every time I watch it.
That was an instant classic. It was that good. Which Ridley Scott can still make an amazing film. That was like the easiest thing. It was just like, here we go. And I think Napoleon. I'm still waiting on the director's cut. That's going to be 4 hours of Napoleon. I don't expect it to be like amazing or anything, but actually coherent. I just want a coherent movie for that. I don't want it to be good, but I just want something coherent. But
he still has his hand in Alien Romulus, and it's great.
Do you think that this might be able to get him that final Alien prequel trilogy film, finish Covenant off, kind of?
No,
I don't think it's going to do that.
But they have. In a way, you could argue that Romulus is, because they did take a lot of the themes from those movies and carried them into this. So yeah, I don't think they will. I think they'll move on, but I'm certain bits of that final trilogy movie, the ideas of that are going to follow through.
Mm.
And the series, I think we'll see a lot of that.
I get people not liking the whole AI aspect of Alien, but it's been there since day one. Like that is what. Yes, it's a cool alien horror movie and all these different things, but that's really not what the movie's about. The movie's about the AI aspect of stuff, and that's like the deep, dark undertones like that have put everybody in this situation to begin with.
People are getting a bit bored of the whole AI thing, isn't it? Because apparently my Hoover is now powered by AI. And it's getting a bit stupid, but I mean that's like saying that you don't like Terminator then, or The Matrix or whatever. I mean these films they just did it first, but yeah, it's in everything now though, isn't it? It's like Quantum a few years ago when everything was quantum something else, quantum this, quantum that, in every damn movie, every damn sci-fi series. There's like, oh well, this is because of a quantum filament or something. And it's like. I'm actually writing a book at the moment, and the quantum filament came into my head because that's the core basis of my story. There's a quantum filament, and it means nothing. It just sounds good. But AI is everything now.
Yeah,
everything's
that
AI.
buzzword. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quantum AI.
Quantum. It will be. There'll be some. Your razor soon will be the quantum AI razor. And I'm sorry, it's not quantum and it's not AI. My Hoover is not AI because it's got a sensor on it and it can go from hard floor to carpet without touching the button. Off. No.
What is my Hoover? Oh, it's a vacuum?
A vacuum cleaner. Yeah, a Hoover. A vacuum cleaner.
Hoover and Roomba, I'm guessing it's kind of similar. Huh.
It's actually a Dyson, so I don't even know what I'm. We call vacuum cleaners Hoovers here because that was the first like vacuum cleaner everyone had at home was a Hoover, the brand Hoover. Yeah. Oh. Do you have the brand Hoover in America? No.
I hear Hoover. I think of a Hoover Dam.
Different. So the brand here was called Hoover, and you notice like when like a brand is just like it's the dominant brand. Mm-hmm. So we just start calling them Hoovers. And if you think about it, it sounds kind of right because it goes ooh. It sounds like it sounds like it's trying to say Hoover, but can't. It's like a dog trying to say like sausages. Sausages. It's like it's the same thing. But yeah, a vacuum cleaner, a vacuum.
I had a big old party over, not a big old party over here, but we stayed up late having a party and have a good time. I'm not mentally alive enough not to like laugh too hard at those because that was great.
Michael Carey is saying that you do have Hoovers in the United States, so it's actually just you. He's from Texas, people. It's a dirt sucker upper. That's what he knows it as.
Here, you say Dyson, I'm with you. I think of either the sun or hoovering.
A Dyson sphere. Now you're going Dyson sphere. That's fair. Yeah. All right, hey, come on. Out of it. Okay.
Which I can bring back into AI and Mass Effect if we really want to like bridge the gap a whole bunch. But yeah.
I love exactly Limon because then he spelt aluminum wrong. That's how you Americans say it. That's not how you spell aluminum, though, is it? No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. There's another I in it.
Y'all add an I.
No, that's how it's spelled because it's an ium because that is relevant to the chemical composition of the fucking mineral. Anyway, let's not start. Are you going to show Americans have decided to drop the I out of aluminium?
All of it. We'll get into the oxides and the hydroxides.
No, let's not.
Oh, look, they did spell it like that here. They did not spell it like it here. Interesting. Oh, no, okay. We'll just get off.
You just choose it. But I can't really kick off about silent. I was like, there's an I in it. You've got to say the I. And then somebody else pointed out the amount of words, particularly in English, that have silent letters, and really I should calm down. So I was like, yeah, okay, you might have got me there. Fair enough.
As I'm Googling, everyone's actually correcting, of course. This aluminium.
Aluminium. It's aluminium.
We found the storm bear.
We didn't kill him. He is alive. Unless that's a bot. English like to add an extra ooh to words. No, we don't.
That would be a rumor with a U.
Yeah, rumor. Just to correct slightly on this one, how can we add or like to add use to words that we invented? You lot like to take use out of words that we created in the first place. So I'm sorry, that's not us trying to confuse you Americans. That's you Americans can't be asked to spell.
We're simplifying the English language to be spelled the way it's spoken, I guess. I don't know. Okay. This is the real question. Is it?
I'm sorry, but we're going to change the spelling to have it the way you say it, but then you say the word wrong. It's aluminium. Aluminum that sounds like you're from Brummie. Anyway, theatre or theatre. It's theater Ari. Theater.
Yes. Most Americans will not say that, but I will agree with you 1,000% of the time on that. I go out of my way to spell it that way. The only time I don't spell it that way is if I'm adding an S at the end, and then I do spell it ERS.
Secular Monk, say Jaguar. Jaguar. It's not Jaguar, is it?
Jaguar.
No, it's Jaguar. Jaguar would have a W in it.
Well, no, it's a Jaguar. The wire is a little much, but Jaguar because it's like guar gum, right?
No, Jaguar. I'm sorry, I can't say your name because that's Quinoa. Quinoa?
No. Don't try to say that.
It's because of the. Now is he trying to trick me? It's
a silent K.
Okay. Yes, it's the Latin. It's the way the words. It's based on the Latin. Yeah.
Is that it?
XKE.
Right.
It's a good car. The F-Type might be my favorite current car. It has been for about 10 years. I love the F-Type Jaguar. Oh my god, it's so sexy.
Yeah, every time I don't know cars all that well, so every time people start talking cars, the movie scene from The Dictator comes to my brain where they're talking about their Porsche and then the helicopter and Porsche 911 as they're doing. It's terrible, but it's great. Well, while we have the Storm Bear here, choose versus lose. Interesting. But while we have the not a bot Storm Bear, Rings of Power. Shall we talk about it just for a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. Are they going to fix it? Does it need fixing?
Yeah, but
Storm
not like
Bear says no.
Well, I don't think it needs like fixing to like the way people are like, oh my god, it's awful, just throw it out the window and stuff. It's a beautifully made TV show. It looks amazing for the most part. They just don't. Once again, like people are upset with canon and Star Wars and all these different things. You got to pay attention to canon. There's absolutely no reason why Galadriel is on Numenor. She never was on Numenor. That's just not Galadriel. She's not this giant warrior princess either. She's a 6'2" elven goddess essentially that everyone like looks up to, and is not like a little like. And I love Morfydd Clark, the
she's great.
I think
might grow.
She's good.
She might grow when she becomes godly.
There's apple boxes. Give her some apple boxes. Like, come on, give her the Tom Cruise treatment there. Let her stand up on some stuff real quick. But it still, I think, can be good. I know it's not gonna be exactly what true Tolkien folk wanted to be, and that's okay. But it's gonna be closer to. Hey, those old Hobbit and Lord of the Rings movies from the 70s and 80s that are animated, they're not actually Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit or anything like that. They're like very streamlined version of those stories. This is more akin to that than it is even Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, which weren't perfect adaptations either. So
pretty close to it.
A lot closer, but still, I think there's leeway that it deserves to be given. Maybe not a whole bunch, but some.
Yeah. I think I know the Tolkienists, the people that are really obsessed with this thing. There are certain canon things that they don't like. Some of it was forced on Lord of the Rings. Some of it was creative decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough about it to get annoyed about it. This is me watching a J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie because I do know the canon of Star Trek, and I come out going, I like that film, but I am angry, and I can then like list the reasons why I'm really angry.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen me do videos on them. Great film. It's not Star. That's how I have to do my head. It's not Star Trek, but I can still enjoy it for what it is. So the Lord of the Rings can't annoy me like that. It just can't. I don't know it well enough. I read Lord of the Rings when I was picking 12. You know, I've not looked at it since. There were things about it that I I thought the pace was too slow, and a lot of the things that the new showrunners have sort of said that they want to improve on. There's certain things they want to improve. The main thing, though, that does genuinely annoy me is when the people start shouting woke at it, and that just pisses me off. There's a black elven, and I'm like, I kind of, on one hand, I kind of know where they're coming from because the elven is supposed to be a Nordic race and blah blah. So okay, so you're twisting sort of like agreed canon sort of thing, but then other ones they were talking about, like Nanny Henry's character and those things. Saying, like, no, that is canon. That was written in the thing. So you're just showing you're just showing that you're a racist as far as I'm concerned. The guys that were going, oh, I'm not so sure about that elven. They're supposed to be a Nordic, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, okay. But at the same time, it's 2024.
There's validity on both sides, but hey, just literally look at anything on TV and film right now. Just don't. Why? There's better things to complain about. If you're going to complain about it, complain about the canon stuff. Win the things that you should want to win at the end of the day, not the petty things.
Yeah, I think there's an element. Right. I've always said, and we've made this argument with Stargate loads, haven't we? That when we get a new series of Stargate, and we've had this argument about Star Trek as well, not that you've ever seen any Star Trek, which still blows my fragile little mind. And I caught a bit of your live on Friday talking about it. But canon is important to a point. Right? Those of us that really obsess on certain things, you've got to let some of it go. The canon, like Star Trek: The Next Generation, they took Star Trek and they modernized it and they made it better in lots of ways, and they did fudge a few little areas of canon. The original Star Trek, though, stepped on its own canon within the same episode sometimes. So maybe not that extreme, but they weren't always spot on. So
yeah.
Because they didn't, I don't think Gene Roddenberry really thought that people would care that much, and then because the idea of like us geeks we hadn't had a show like that before.
What was canon even technically like a? I mean, I guess it's a thing, but it really wasn't, because it was more treated almost like a monster of the week kind of thing. I guess like Sherlock Holmes might have had like canon or something like that throughout his books, but kind of in that same monster of the week. Like we might say this happened, but some almost like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's if when you say something on one show though, and then you say something completely different in the next show about the technology or something, that does get a bit confusing. They did that. Some of the rules around the warp core and stuff were fudged, let's say, and they tried to make it a bit better in the actual series, FTNG. But at the same time, certain things don't. I don't think you can become too anal about it, is the problem. And sometimes things are changed from canon or what, because either something didn't really make sense, so they've tried to make it make sense, or now we've got the new Star Trek that's like, fuck canon, let's do what we like. Let's actually reference something in canon and then like take the piss out of it. And if we break this many canon rules, but then really make a big point about like highlighting something from canon, and we'll go, remember this, guys, remember this. Maybe they won't notice all the other things that we just pedal over. But I don't think Lord of the Rings was necessarily doing that. Remember, one, it's set like 6,000 years before, so it's like,
Well, they don't have an actual like text to go off of. They have a very general guide of history to go off of. It's almost like House of the Dragon has even more info than Rings of Power has to go for their show, and they don't necessarily have a whole lot of info. Like they have like the historical bullet points, and that's literally what the House of Dragon show is. But Rings of Power is broader, even historical points that you're like, good luck, because these guys live for hundreds of years, thousands of years at this time. So it could literally pick up 80 years later at any point. We could do a time skip at any point, and it still makes sense, which would be interesting.
And characters changed surely over thousands of years. I think second one was like heavy-handed messaging in series and films. Yeah, I 100% agree with him. When it's Star Trek is the perfect example for me. There's layers to Star Trek. There always has been. There's always like a moral to the story. It's not like the old He-Man cartoons where they come and tell you the moral at the end, and then He-Man would run off giggling. If you know what I'm talking about. Don't talk to strangers, kids. And then jump on the thing and run off. And that was used to how at the end of every He-Man episode used to end. It was so weird watching it now. But in Star Trek Picard season 2, there's a thing in Star Trek where there's some race riots. Right, it's been revisited over several episodes. Actually, I think it happens like about now in reality. I think it happened in 2024 in canon. I think it happens about now. But anyway, I might be a bit off of that. So it's around now. Anyway, in Star Trek season 2, they sort of mention it, but then they literally stop and they basically look to camera and go, and don't forget, racism's bad, children. And then they carry on with the story. It's such a weird little blip in this thing where they just sort of be like, oh, racism. And like saying, you don't need to be that explicit. You can make the point that racism bad through metaphor and the story you're telling and make people think, you know, without sort of doing this weird pause halfway through the story to like make a big point about racism.
And it doesn't need to be heavy-handed in the sense of like, we're gonna tell you 45 minutes of this is bad. No, just like literally show a character doing something stupid and then realizing, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And hey, like just keep moving. Like that's okay. Like that shows it, and people register that. We're smarter than we give most of our audiences credit for, which is why Game of Thrones did so good for so long, and then it didn't treat their audiences all that smart the last couple seasons. So we saw what happened.
Well, I would say it's more than not just treating people like they're intelligent as well, though. I think for the stupid people, your point works better if they don't realize they're being taught.
Yeah,
is it's slightly patronizing, I know, but Star Trek was supposed to be like having these good moral thing, but it never hit you in the face with it. And lots of TV shows have been the same over the years. They don't hit you in the face with it. You don't know. You realize, hey, Steve, how you doing, man? You know, they don't need to, because you know you figure out the moral of the story, sort of thing. I think actually when they hit you in the face of it, the intelligent people that knew that's what you were talking about anyway are a bit like, that was a bit weird. What's the point in that? And the stupid people twig. They're telling us morals.
Yeah.
And they get pissed off at it. And I think we're going to see I think we're starting to see already a massive kick against woke. Basically, if you remember like the 90s, all of it was basically a massive kick against the 80s. The 80s were very censored. We'll put it that way. The censors really got hold of TV and movies and went, you're not going to say anything. And there was a big kick against it. And we got films like Reservoir Dogs and stuff like that as a result.
Which is
that really, you know, kicked the arse. But I actually think we're living in the 80s again at the moment.
I think, as you said it, I was like, the 2010s were definitely getting kind of like that again, but especially I think 2020 to just now, and maybe now it's changing, but like those, just I guess really those pandemic years, I think probably were the needle going over that threshold, saying, all right, swing back, you know, that pendulum saying, all right, time, we got our momentum, go back this way. And hopefully, obviously, we're humans. We repeat history. We're doomed to repeat it, as they all say, you know. So it'll probably swing back one way and go crazy for a little bit one way. But, hey, like, hopefully one day we'll learn that. And hopefully soon, with all the freaking YouTube access we have, all the different media we all watch, all the different shows, we get enough perspectives from every different angle all the time where maybe that pendulum doesn't have
bad thing, maybe, because unfortunately the thing with the algorithms on YouTube, once it realizes you have a certain opinion, that's all it throws at you, and it's just continuously reinforcing your cognitive bias. So unfortunately, again, you do get stupid people. I was having an argument with an anti-vaxxer. We're not going to get political. I won't go into the argument, but I had a very serious, and they kept throwing, and then they kept saying, you're just throwing hate at us. And I'm like, no, I'm throwing facts at you that you don't like. That's different. And at every point they made, aluminium causes dementia. Well, there's a crap load more aluminium in your water than there is in the vaccination you just took. So again, you're just, so all this, and I was just making them more and more annoyed with like common sense and facts. But the problem is, the only YouTube video they ever see support their bias, and that's the problem we've got with YouTube. Is that's how it does it. It shows you things that it thinks you want to see, but what it doesn't show you the other side. But Popcorn Power did make aluminum. Thank you. Popcorn Power made a point a minute ago about that Star Trek used to show you, and good sci-fi, I think, shows you two sides of an argument. I don't quite agree that it shows you two sides of an argument necessarily, because there's always a good guy and a bad guy. You know what I mean? But it explores questions, but doesn't necessarily hit you in the face with this is the right answer, and if you think the other side, you're wrong. The one episode in The Next Generation where they explored sort of non-binary characters. They had a race that were neither male or female thing. That is a good example, actually, where Popcorn Power was dead on. They did explore both sides, and they didn't necessarily tell you which way was right. They just made you think about it. I remember the Orville did a similar sort of episode, but they basically went, this is right and this is wrong.
Yeah.
They explored both sides, and then they just went, nah. if you think non-binary is a problem, then you're the one that's wrong. So yeah, I don't know about that.
Nuance in conversation is always the best, and we forget that a lot as a species, I would say. It's just find the nuance, because compromise is two sides not being fully happy. That's what compromise is. It's two people finding that common ground and not necessarily being 100% happy either way. And that's just life, Like I wish we realized that for our films a lot of times and other media like that. We just digest is take it seriously, yes, but also there is a nuance to even watching and digesting and regurgitating that, whatever you get from that. But yeah, to go back to the canon aspect of just pushing all of that circle. Yeah, told George. I saw this real quick. Rough Riders is giving us in here. Can Michael Wright make a decision about his TV productions at MGM? If not, why does he have that job? That's
he can, to a point. Obviously, this is talking about the video I did in the week. To a point, he can. The problem with Stargate is that it's a bit different. Is because Amazon want to do the movie. So if Amazon weren't doing the movie, then this wouldn't be a question. Michael Wright could go, we figured out to get it in the budget, we're going to go with it. Amazon would still have to probably sign it off and say yes, because they are still the bosses. Michael Wright isn't God when it comes to MGM Plus. He is in charge of MGM Plus, but unfortunately, Amazon bosses are still. Mike Hopkins is really the guy that says yes or no. But the point is, and the important point is, if they're doing the movie, Amazon will not want MGM Plus to do the series yet. They won't, because it won't make any sense. So that's the problem, is the movie plan.
Yeah, and also I don't know. Obviously every question is technically a fair question to ask, but hey, he's trying his hardest. He's literally presented other shows that are doing well comparatively for other shows on MGM Plus that he's willing to cancel to like herald Stargate into that position. He's willing to cut back his best things to make it even better. So yeah, he has that job because he's willing to make hard decisions like that. And also, he's just going to leave us hanging. I don't know if that's the actual Mike Wright or not, but
it's a different Mike Wright. Damn it, try harder. It's not the actual Mike Wright.
I don't think so, because Mike's always here. I just put that together.
Mike Wright's been with us a very long time. If that's the actual Mike Wright, I'm like, dude, why haven't you mentioned it earlier?
That's what
been with SciTrek like 2 years, mate. So
I know.
What the hell?
I've never put that together, and we've been talking about Michael Wright for the last freaking years too.
I think it's quite a common name, but I think if we got an announcement that Billy the Kid is being cancelled, though, that would be interesting.
That would vary. I think that would be very telling in some ways.
If we don't get a movie announcement this year either, I don't think it'll happen. I think we've got to get a movie announcement by the end of this year, or it won't be happening. Because I mean, they're getting the studio space online, they're going to do things online. They're going to have to make a decision soon. And I know they're making decisions about what they want to do first, but then they keep buying scripts for the things that they then get excited about. They want to push forwards with, and I think every day that goes by, Stargate is more likely just to become an MGM Plus show.
Okay.
Or a hard reboot.
What would be your over under, like 60-40, 70-30, or whatever you would say for if it does not get made into a movie within the next, or at least it doesn't get billed and tapped to start production on a movie in the next year or two, would the show be feasible? Like more so?
Yeah, I mean, because it would be Stargate: The Next Generation. This is what we're doing. It's been done before. It would be in universe, but not necessarily a continuation, or like a Belt and Braces continuation. Like it's not. This isn't Criminal Minds Evolution. This is just straight up. We cancelled the show. We wish you hadn't. Let's do another one with the same characters and everything. It won't be that. It'll be Star Trek: The Next Generation. Stargate: The Next Generation. So it'll be in universe, carry on. We might see, Daniel Jackson or whatever come in as the odd cameo and stuff, but I don't think it'll be anything more than that. If Amazon decide not to go with the movie, I would actually say we're 50-50 on a movie at the moment. In that, Sarah's just messaged me. Sarah's just messaged me about doing the best and worst Stargate episodes. We'll do that. I'll message you about that, Sarah, when I get back, when I get off. So I would say we're 50-50 on that, because I don't think a decision's been made. I think that was what they basically did during the strikes. They had a movie in very early pre-planning, and they'd even started some pre-production. It got cancelled because the strikes and everything. They blew 10 million quid on it, and they went, right, we're putting a pin in that. We're not cancelling it, we're putting a pin in it. And then they've been trying to catch up ever since. And it's just they basically lost a year, and they've been trying to catch up. At some point, they've got to make a decision, and they are dropping projects out of their calendar because they're trying to make 2 years worth of movies in a year, basically, is what they're trying to do. So they've got to, they're dropping some projects, and we've already seen it. We've already seen them saying they were going to do one, and then they're just not.
Well, Legally Blonde 3 might be actually, the joke that we've been saying the last few years. It seems like they might not be doing that and doing the TV show instead.
Yeah, they're doing the TV show instead. That was in pre-production before the sale went through. But let's not forget, and we keep making this point, this is a production company that owns one of the biggest action movie franchises of the last 50 years in James Bond. Still done nothing with it. And they still have not been able to decide on a James Bond. So they're not.
Last year, with all the momentum about the Aaron Taylor Johnson rumors, even if it wasn't going to be him, you would think they would have announced within 2 months of those things coming out, those rumors, just to jump on momentum or something. Dead silent still.
The thing is, I think they need to make a decision, because the movie that was planned before was going to be an in-universe, but not a direct continuation. So it was going to be an inverse solo movie, standalone movie. That was always the plan. If they decide, screw it, we're going to do a hard reboot, that's just easier, which was always a risk. But the longer we go, the more of a risk it becomes. Because that won't be, though, because Amazon want it. That'll be because whoever they decide to create it basically goes, I've got this great idea for a reboot and blah, blah, blah. And they'll do that. And there are some technical issues with doing a continuation. Then I think the TV series won't happen. All I can say really is that MGM Plus is still making the argument that we can do a TV series and we can do something brilliant, and it can really push MGM Plus on. And they're still making the argument. It's just waiting for Amazon to make a decision. They can't see. And this has been the problem since day one with Amazon. They lost Mark Fergus because they couldn't decide between a TV series and a movie, and they wouldn't tell him what they wanted to do for like
We
6
could have
months.
had something by now.
Yeah,
Actually.
6 months they messed him around, and then he's gone on, and now he's supposed to be doing Warhammer or God of War.
Warhammer, not Warhammer 40K. Sorry, God of War. Yeah,
God of War, especially in God of War. That's been very quiet. That's supposed to be in production now. So they've not even pushed forward on that.
Only thing that they've done with that and the Warhammer is now on that secret level, that new little animated show, and that's just because they have the IP. It has nothing to do with the actual team set to make those shows, which is
Well, I mean, Penguin and Parker started that project nearly 3 years ago now, and it's another one of those programs that, like Babylon 5, like the Battlestar Galactica reboot, like Stargate, really, that got just bogged down during the strikes. And now, unfortunately, as well, we've got a bunch of production companies and studios that look at sci-fi and think, bloody expensive, when they're trying to save money. And that's the problem. You know, if you look at it from a purely business point of view, would you want to spend 50 million quid on 10 episodes of a sci-fi show that you're not sure how it's going to do, or do you want to spend 5 million quid on, you know, a sitcom or something that just as many people will watch?
From the business perspective, I'm gonna greenlight the sitcom all day. I think the sci-fi though would be a great thing to greenlight, and it has potential to make far more money than a sitcom ever does. But like you just said, budget's just insane. And with the amount of CG necessary for the insane worlds people are creating, all these intricate things, like you have to just spend more money to make it look good. Why not do what Gareth Edwards did with The Creator and literally make a film that looks like a $300 million movie? Yeah. The Creator looked better than Deadpool and Wolverine, and it was made for less than half of the budget.
We know, though, that's a lot of what Amazon were thinking, because whenever we talked about the budget when the movie was up and running, they were looking at about $80 million budget, and then it's just trying to figure out how to make that work. So it would have been $80 million production cost, $150 million total cost, and that, I think, was partly because it was a nice middle of the road. It's a slightly an expensive streaming movie budget, but it's a cheap cinema movie budget. So it could have gone either way quite easily. The other problem, Oliver, unfortunately, the studios have got, is that 20 years ago, sci-fi was really popular because it had really good DVD sales. Sci-fi was pretty much the top for DVD sales. Star Trek, all of these TV shows. Battlestar Galactica, 20 years after it was made, was in the top 10 for sci-fi DVD sales.
The Matrix changed the game and let the landscape just be sci-fi for so long, which was great.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is there was also merchandise, toys, and merch for adults and things. Kids don't buy toys like they used to anymore.
They buy
the
apps.
Merch has changed slightly in that they've twigged. If we make merchandise for adults, they'll buy this shit, and we do. So it's swinging back around again. We see things like the Lego sets and all this sort of thing. Very popular, do well. But it's not like Star Wars when Star Wars came out and they released all the toys. And they made the merchandise made more money than the pigging that they ever made at the cinema. You know, basically the toys made George Lucas a billionaire because he retained a big chunk of the rights and a big chunk of the and got loads of money from the toys. But kids don't buy toys like that anymore. You know, they're all on YouTube.
Yeah, in-game purchases and apps or games. That's what they're buying. They want a new skin in Fortnite. They don't want a new cape to wear around the house. It's
just not the same. But studios are slowly figuring out how to tap into that. I think we're seeing that with cinema at the moment. They are slowly realizing, films. I think I talked about this in one of the videos recently. Films don't need to make a fortune at the cinema. Okay, we haven't got DVD sales anymore, but we have got in-app stuff on. Well, we can put it behind a paywall on Disney Plus, and then we can put it on Disney Plus, and we get a bump in views. So or we put adverts on them now as well, which is what Amazon or whatever do. We put adverts on them, we sell them. So they are realizing there is still a back end. There is still money to be made. I saw something about Indiana Jones. You know how much it lost at the cinema? It was like, was it $200 million or something lost at the cinema?
One of the largest ever. Borderlands might be one of the few that beats it.
It went in profit, total profit for the movie 2 weeks after it went on streaming. It went into profit. It put it behind a paywall, and it made all its money back almost straight away. And then everything after that was gravy. So that film actually ended up making money, which is just ridiculous.
James Mangold, God, that movie could have been so great. And it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just not a great Indiana Jones movie. But yeah, no, the ads everywhere. It's pay $100 for it, but like also the ads are making things cheap again, which is nice. But we're just going right back to cable. We're a serpent eating its own tail. It just.
Do you know when an advert comes up and it tells you how long's left? And I'm sat there going, 30 seconds. Oh, for God's sake! It's 30 seconds. Come on.
That 5 seconds till you can press the skip button is like the longest 5 seconds ever.
I can't skip them. It just says your show will continue in 45 seconds. So I'm like, that's forever. Just kill me now. And I was like, I've got so used to, not having adverts and things.
I'm bad because I have just so many people in and out all the time, and we're just watching things, and also like family we still kind of share and everything, and I go ad free. I'm like, I'll spend a couple extra dollars. I hate it, but I don't have the patience to sit through the ads. I don't.
We want everything to work immediately, though, now, don't we? My kids are when they're playing their computer games, and if they lag at all, they're straight onto us going, this Wi-Fi shit, we need to get new Wi-Fi, this is rubbish. It's not worked for 10 seconds. I'm just like, God, dude, you need to go. My childhood was downloading a photo for 2 weeks, waiting for it to get to the boobs. I've got a face. I mean, God, man, your computer game doesn't work for 10 seconds. Right? But I'm saying, I want everything to work straight away. And if it doesn't work straight away, then I'm like, this is shit.
We're so
impatient.
But even when I was a little kid, not all that long ago, like it's
last week, right?
It feels like it sometimes. I mean, the internet was a thing, but like you still had to go do things for yourself. You had to go figure something out. Like now it's just everything's instantaneous, and I don't know how that's changed that quickly. But with obviously we talked about AI and VI and stuff like that. Where the hell are we going to be in 5 years? Like if I'm 25 and saying how did it change this quickly already, I'm spooked.
Remember, like when you got a new phone. You probably didn't do that. When you got a new phone when I was a kid, I had to transfer all the contacts over and things like that. And my photos, I had to get a plug and plug my photos in and get rid of my photos onto my computer and things. I had to save transfer it all over. Now I get my new iPhone and I just tap them together and it knows and transfers everything over.
I'm jealous about because I don't have iPhones, and that's the one thing I would get an iPhone to do is just the picture share. Like that's the easiest damn thing in the world. I don't get it, but I know
my iPhone can do loads of things. I don't know how to do it. My kid, we were watching TV, and my son took my phone off me and just sort of went, "Oh, we watch it on the TV." Did something and went with the screen, and it appeared on my telly.
Oh yeah,
and we watched it through my phone. I'm like, I've never been able to do it since. I don't know how he did it. Straight to brain is next. You're right. They're already trying to figure out how.
Oh, the Neuralink stuff. Oh, the human trials are started. Give it 2 years.
Yep. Fiber optic straight to the back of the head.
It's insane.
Terrifying.
Insane.
No. Yeah.
I don't even know where my brain is right now. I'm just trying to think about all this stuff. It's like what sentence comes next now? Like, where are we with this stuff? That's good.
I know. No, the future's pretty terrifying, to be honest. But
so interesting and so exciting at the same time, and terrifying.
Yeah, but the problem is, I mean, the line between reality and fiction is already really blurry. With AI and stuff, we've got these AI voice simulators. What was it? They did a Kamala Harris trailer, and it's her voice, and it sounds just like it, and it's just fake. And Donald Trump even shared it and said how brilliant it was, and it's just fake.
Well, that, and then they did the same thing. Just another Kamala thing that happened in the last week or 2 weeks was now Joe Rogan's suing, was it CNN or MSNBC, because they just rearranged and like took a couple of things he said and like AI'd the rest of it or whatever to make it sound like he was endorsing her, and he's just like, I didn't endorse anybody. Come on now.
But what's it going to be in another 10 years if we already can't trust our eyes? Seeing isn't believing anymore. Because CGI's got so good and so cheap that, that is the one good thing for sci-fi actually going forward. The CGI is becoming cheaper and cheaper every year. That's the one thing that save sci-fi. Is that these shows are really cheaper to make. But anyway, I'm sorry. But seeing isn't believing anymore, man. You can't believe what you see, which is why you then get idiots on the internet that don't check anything.
And the audio aspect of it, because you can tell when things are an AI voice still. Maybe it's getting freaking close. But that's something I worry about, is the more we listen to it, the more good luck with the audio too. I mean, obviously, like you look at, we know eyes, mouth, and fingers and hands are really what we look for AI, like visual things. We don't really know what to look or listen to for the audio aspect of things anymore. And just so we can do a little shameless plug, y'all got to go watch Greg's little podcast from Friday, the Radical Wasteland podcast, because we actually did talk about this, because Fallout is like game stuff as well, and the whole SAG video game strike is happening right now, which goes into this kind of stuff. They literally have, like we talked about it on Friday, they have things where you already have a voice actor that's done stuff. They're doing almost full DLCs for games through mods that people are just at home, and hey, you have something voiced by Michael Gambon that used to be Dumbledore, and now you want a new Dumbledore DLC onto this game. Just toss in Michael Gambon's voice, and now you have 50 new lines of dialogue for him. It takes 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe longer if you don't have a good computer to render.
It costs nothing to do. And that was some very subtle advertising. I like how you put it over the face and all this. That was very well done. Lovely bit of it.
Let us keep talking.
How much my video?
It's helpful having a Chaz to give us good fancy tech things.
Our video. Yes, we do. We like Chaz, our new editor-in-chief.
That's his technical title.
You've noticed that my videos all of a sudden look better when I get the lighting right. I did that one video. Oh my God, the lighting was bad. But if you've noticed that the editing's a bit better, it's because we've got our friend Chaz doing it.
Yeah, Monk. I love me some R&B. Hey, Dieter Bastian and him. If I can't even speak. If y'all aren't ever watching this show, of course we're a little hour later, so usually we don't jump in too much. But that's a great channel over there. And tell the man to come hang out over here, because we need to talk. We need to talk some Trek. In general, because that's a good Trekkie that I think would be fun to enjoy with. How to cast your video. They do make it
Trek all damn day. I need to get a vote video with Greg, and me and Greg just argue Star Trek.
That'd be really good. We need to get, now that we have the Fallout podcast going, the next one in line is Science of Sci-Fi with Stormy, because Stormy does want to do that real quick. And there are a couple things that we've talked about that kind of would correlate well with Greg for the Fallout stuff and other little franchises and stuff. So if y'all think of anything cool, let them know. But, Stargate's up next besides that, and then we need a Star Trek one coming soon. We just got to figure out the logistics, who wants to host it every single week, and stuff like that. Or not every single week, every other week, because we're doing every other week. But I'm pumped for these things to start popping out, because we also have more videos. Like you just said, lighting. We talked about it right before. I'm terrified Chaz is gonna holler at me, but good, cool Blade video coming very soon. Just depends how quickly it's edited. Yeah, y'all keep your eyes out for that.
We have 2 quite big exclusives coming this week. A Blade exclusive. As far as I know, it's nobody else knows. No, I've not heard it, and the rumors flying around, but we actually know a little bit of insider.
We gave at least 2 pieces of true scooping information in that, which is good.
And then I've just dropped a video that will be out in a couple of days of quite a big Star Trek Paramount sale Star Trek exclusive, which again, as far as I know, is an exclusive. The only problem with these things is obviously I get told, and we get told stuff here on SciTrek from lots of people that we talk to, but because I don't actually watch a lot of YouTube, because I try not to too much, because I think it twists your opinion. So I try to keep focused on what I want to do something. I don't. Sometimes I say this is exclusive, and then I find out afterwards. Now it's everyone knows. It's like, oh, I don't know. I thought it was an exclusive, but normally I'm right. Normally I'm before everyone else. Yeah, hit that like button, people. Thanks for people watching.
But Oliver, you might be onto something here.
Dun dun dun.
You might be onto something too, me nails.
Well, yes and no.
Oh?
But you'll have to wait for the video. I already did the short sort of show the video, guys. Seriously. We do have to bring this amazing little chat to an end. And I know I don't need a wee. Before anyone says, I don't have a drink because I'm thirsty.
You got a little shit talking on you at the very end of the last episode by the whole chat. They were like, they brought it up. They were like, Stormy and Harris have gone 4.5 hours and have not peed.
Oh, had you? I'm pretty sure Stormy's in geriatric nappies. So he probably did. Yeah, he's probably peeing away quite happily.
And I do have the SciTrek themed catheter with me, so
yeah, a SciTrek catheter available in all good bookshops. Yeah, I make the mistake. Well, I've always had a bladder the size of a walnut. It's always been a problem. But my problem is I sit here and drink a pint of Coke and have a cup of tea just before, and I do it every single time. I'm an idiot. I never learn. But I'm going to need a pee halfway through. You know that thing when we did the video with the companion, when we actually got to speak to the size of a peanut. Yeah, we actually got to speak to. I know it is. That's the mistake. I don't think that's how you spell diuretic, is it? Yeah, plugs it in.
I don't know why you plug that sad.
But I just don't. I don't learn. But we did that video with Brad Wright, and I was like, I'm not. And Matt was even like, do not need a pee through this video. And I'm like, no, don't worry, mate. I'm not going to only need a drink for like 12 hours before the video. I was like, I'm making sure.
I will be dehydrated for this, but I'm going to drink some Gatorade right before my Brad Wright pops up.
But yeah, I need to hydrate. But no, because we're running a bit late, I'm afraid the wife is a bit like, come on, it's 7:30, 7:45, you need to get off.
Yeah.
So my wife
with rapid fire what we watched this week.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to make one point. Yeah, all you regular SciTrekkers know that I wasn't very well not long ago. I've made a nice recovery. I've had a few little setbacks, but I've recovered really well. But I do have to limit how long we do these videos, which is why I'm not around as much as I'd like to be. I do need to limit how long I do these things for. And I
can't do 4.5 hours every week, so thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, when I did, you'll never beat me anyway, mate, because I did 17 hours once and peed 9 times.
I was there for a good chunk of that, but 17.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you and Chaz's Firefly. I did talk to him. Was like, this needs to happen. He was like, ooh, he was excited about it. So yeah, we need to do it.
I'll take a day off work and we'll do it. We'll do it. And I say we do it for charity or something. That'd be cool.
I think that's a great idea. The best idea to do that. He agreed because we were talking about that too. I blame J.J. Abrams for Jay's.
No, it was Alex Kurtzman that did it.
Kurtzman. It wasn't the lens flares.
Kurtzman's fault. Yeah. And the woman from Stargate, the one from Amazon, it was Jennifer Salke's fault. Stupid Jennifer Salke. If we'd have got Stargate by now, I'd have been fine. But
everybody takes a shift. That
crowd sizes. I'm obsessed with my crowd sizes. How many people are watching at the moment? 30, 33, 30?
35.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Oh yeah. You want to just do the rapid fire real quick?
Yeah. What have I watched this week? Alien Romulus. I'm working a lot at the moment, so I've gone back to full-time work. So I can't think. What am I watching at the moment? You tell us what you're watching. It might remind me what the hell I'm watching.
I watched the 2 episodes of the Rick and Morty anime that came out. Not all that great. It's anime. It's different. It doesn't hit the same note even remotely. But the Solar Opposites, new season of Solar Opposites came out, and that is it I think Solar Opposites is almost a contender with Futurama for like the best comedy for sci-fi nerds. Which also new Futurama episode tonight, Rings of Power. I'll be watching, and then Only Murders in the Building on Tuesday, which I'm so excited about. But anyway, I think that's all I've watched. Oh, besides movies, no, actually, I totally lied because every movie that I've meant to see the last 2 days I have not seen because I've been preparing for barbecues. I went to go see a Friends movie, Into the Rabbit's Den, and that's a very small indie film. If you see it, check it out.
Cool. Yeah. Because I got MGM Plus at the moment, I've had a bit of a smash through old, 80s and 90s movies when MGM was just in its brilliant. Dave, I just watched the end of the first half of Rookie, loved it. I haven't caught up on House of the Dragon yet. I've still not seen the end of the season, but I'm getting there slowly. I really loved Romulus. Went to the cinema to see that. But yeah, I it was Bird on the Wire. I watched.
Bird on the Wire is great too.
See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Ooh.
I watched last week. Oh my god, that's a good film. I love that movie. It's so stupid. I'm black. Does Dad know? That's so fucking funny. I can't go back to. I can't show my face in the tennis club again. It's just so funny. But I've been watching a lot of just older movies and just sitting there watching them, thinking these are all better than the crap we have to sit through today. They're all better. They've all got character development. They've all got, the thing is though, I mean, the movies that have survived, that's the trick. It's this rose-colored testicles thing that you get. Spectacles. I said it wrong by mistake for humor.
I thought it was hilarious. I'm imagining balls.
Right, rose-colored. There are terrible movies, but they bombed, so nobody ever watches them again. Blazing Saddles is one of them. It's one of Airplane. But the good movies come back on streaming services, and we remember them and we watch them again. The bad movies we just forget about. We don't watch again, and it will be the same in 30 years' time. People will go, "Oh, I watch this classic old movie from 2024," and they won't remember the crap. Because it'll be forgotten about. And that's all this. A lot of this TV shows that are just Discovery. One day will be that show where somebody goes, Star Trek Discovery. I don't really remember it. What was that about? And it'll get relegated to distant memory where it effing belongs one day. And, but people will still know what Lower Decks was. People will look back fondly on Lower Decks. That's my theory.
Ooh, your Sci-Fi Entertainment channel. I like it. I was jumping out some stuff the other day, just ideas for that. But I think that's a good.
Your Sci-Fi Entertainment channel, your Sci-Fi TV and movie channel. I like to just roll. I like the of it.
It's so
things
perfect.
Have got to change. Things have got to evolve.
Yeah, because we're talking video games and books now. There are other options as well. Which, hey, that's a good thing. So many sci-fi things. I'm knocking.
We can talk about whatever the hell we like on this channel, mate. At the end of the day, if you want to talk about something, you talk about it.
We shall.
That's the beauty of YouTube.
We are making this channel a Blazing Saddles trek now. Immediately.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
We will use Sci-Fi to not resuscitate because he's not just revive. That's the word I'm looking for. Richard Pryor, and we're all good. We got this.
Lower Decks was cancelled just because it got to 5 seasons, and there's some idiot seems to think that 5 seasons is a successful run nowadays. The viewing figures for Lower Decks are great. It's always been really profitable. It gets really good rewatch hours, but they want to do something else instead. Simple as that. It's not even because the new owners coming in, because the new owners have, the current owners have basically told Seagull to carry on as if don't worry about the future, just carry on as is. So it's not even blazing sci-fi. You'd like that, wouldn't you?
I like that actually.
Sci-fi. I thought you would.
That's pretty damn cool. Anything Mel Brooks from back in the day would definitely not get made today. Yeah.
I'm not sure that's true.
I'm not sure it's true either, but it would have a much more difficult time getting made, or at least getting greenlit to be made. That might be it. But hell,
wait, sensibilities change. That's the thing. Stuff, what we consider to be in bad taste changes over time, and there are certain things you couldn't do in a the whole opening sequence where the new sheriff is riding towards a town and he's shouting, "It's a," and you couldn't do that now. And I don't think you should, even though it is it's poking fun in its irony, but it's there are lots of things. If you watch the first Airplane movie, there's stuff in there you would not get away with now.
Literally, I almost said a line from the movie whenever you said airplane. It's one of the funniest lines, and I was like, let me not say that real quick. We will get in trouble.
Yeah, you can't. But you shouldn't either. This is the thing. I actually agree with a lot of it. But at the same time, I think comedians make the good point that they have to be so damn careful what they say now that it's ridiculous, and they get, there's a comedian. He's an American comedian, but he spent most of his time over here. Reginald D. Hunter, Reggie D. Hunter, and he made a joke about the Jewish community and Palestine, and it wasn't a particularly good joke, but oh my God, people kicked off over it. It made the newspapers, and I was like, it was a joke, and he just said, like, I'm sorry, I was pushing boundaries. It was a joke. I was pushing boundaries. Ricky Gervais, how much time do you get in trouble? And it's like, comedians, they've got to push boundaries and stuff. And it's like, calm down.
I like that a lot of comedy nowadays, when you're checking in to go sit down and stuff, they lock your phone up. They're like, you're not filming this anymore. This is like, it's a safe space to say bad things or whatever. And it's counterintuitive in that freaking sense, but it's not. Like it's poking fun, and you need to poke fun from a different perspective sometimes. So people are like, oh wait, that is dumb, but it's funny, or something like that. There's ways to dissect the world, and humor's a great
thing that annoys me though is when things are seen on like a two-dimensional level, and when something's ironic. Right, I was thinking about this not long ago. I think I mentioned this on a live actually. There's a Chinese detective, and Peter Ustinov played the main character, and it was Sumit Chan. I want to say Jackie Chan, but it wasn't. He's like, favorite nephew number one, and sort of thing. And it's those movies. But what they do is, because obviously Peter Ustinov, he's Russian descent, he's British actor basically. They did that thing with his eyes to make his eyes, like stretch out and thing, and they put the makeup on to make him look like. So that was because he was a Chinese character, and they were just in the studio. But even though it was very popular to him, because there was a lot of Chinese actors in the show and in the movies. So it was actually a really good way of Chinese actors to get on screen. But Peter Ustinov did the thing because they thought, we can't have a Chinese actor as the main guy. So they did that. They're banned now. You can't watch them. And I would say that's probably right. They probably shouldn't. Hey, Rodrigo. But then you think there's other things that is like, okay, yes, it's all right. Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, blacked up. In irony, there was a point for it. It's not racist because the whole point of it was to point out the stupidity of what he was doing. And yes, okay, there was the whole thing about him being an actor, and he was like going to that next level, and he was poking for the actors that sort of like have to do that sort of thing. But also it was poking fun at race, and it was, but there was a point to it. It was irony, you know. It was funny, but also it did point out the stupidity of a lot of racist opinions of it. It's not Charlie Chan. Thank you. It wasn't racist to black up. It was anti-racism. That was the point. If you look past just the fucking very shallowest of elements of things, he's blacked up. That's not right. Listen to what he says. Listen to the point of the fucking thing. If they did a Tropic Thunder 2 now, yes, they should get Robert Downey Jr. and yes, they should black him up again.
Ben Stiller doing that.
Yeah. It's to make a point, though. But that's the thing that annoys me, is they try to ban these things. Yeah, I saw that. They try to ban these things.
The second you started talking about it.
Yeah. They don't understand, though, that it's not racist because they're stupid. Mate, we've really got to wrap it up. It was 20 minutes ago.
Okay. Just for this last little joke, we'll put this up.
Yeah.
You started talking about it, and my brain went to this little edit that popped out this morning. I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah. The Robert Downey Jr.'s got to play everything.
Everything. Oh.
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people?
Yeah. The scene's brilliant. The movie's brilliant. It's so damn funny.
The special effects. Look at the special effects of this head. It's amazing. This is corn syrup.
Like early and mid 2000s, Ben Stiller felt almost like a modern Mel Brooks in a way.
It did, yeah.
To some degree. I mean, obviously, it's Starsky and Hutch instead of Blazing Saddles, but like, it's still pretty damn good. Still a good time, you know. But yeah, that's all I got. You want to give anybody else anything before we hop out of here?
I'm good. Thank you, guys. Been brilliant.
Yes.
Great chat as always.
Thank y'all. Love y'all. Y'all be safe.
Peace.